I'm really happy to be here, Dan.
Oh, and I'm grateful for you to be here.
It's a real honor.
It's great. At least it's an honor for somebody to be on this channel.
I tell you.
You know what? This also marks maybe the first time that Father Greg has been on this channel with his collar on. You bring out the best in people, Father.
Thank you. I've always wondered that.
Wondered what?
Why you don't wear your collar on the show?
Oh, I apologize. Well, I will start today, I guess.
There you go. What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punch Board Party. My name is Daniel. This is Father Dan, and this is Father Greg. So we have the privilege today to be going over Father Dan's top 10 board games of all time. You've heard a lot about Father Dan. He was, for the longest time, Father Greg's probably primary board gaming partner. So during our Best of the Months, you'd hear about him quite a bit. And now we finally got him in the city, and he is willing to grace us with his presence and his top 10 for all y'all party people. Alright, so Father Dan, why don't you tell us a bit about just how you got into the hobby, or what the hobby looks like for you, and how you compiled your list.
So I've been playing modern board games about 2015, introduced by my brother Dave and Father Greg, in fact. This top 10 comes from, I've played 411 unique games.
Okay.
And so that's out of all those games, these are my top 10. Wow. And about 1,800 plays, And so this is what it's all come down to, and it's a great list. It's a great list.
And only imagine.
You know what, party people? I swear, you stick around, and this is going to be one of the best lists we've ever had on this channel. For you guys, party people, from what I know about you, and what I know about Father Dan, this is going to jive really well. Because Father Dan, you've been a party person for a while.
For sure. Almost since the beginning.
Yeah, so very happy to have you contribute.
All right. My 10 best board game of all time is from Vladimir Suchy, a Pulsar.
Sure.
Pulsar 2849.
Wow. There it is.
I expected to see some Vladimir Suchy on this list. It might not be the only one. Yeah. But 2849 is great. Yeah.
So is this like one of 8 Suchis on the list? Or what?
Pretty much.
This is basically going to be the top 10 games that Vladimir Suchy has made.
So I've played this game only 4 times.
Okay.
But I just love it. I love particularly the dice drafting in the game, where you have to draft the dice and then it moves you up and down these 2 different tracks. And so it's a Euro game through and through, but we just played a 4-player game of this at my brother Dave's house. And you know me, normally I don't like 4-player games, but it was great because there's some player interaction. Another thing I love about the game, I'm not sure what you're doing. It's set in space, and you want to generate these pulsars. You want to move up these tech trees and build space stations, right? So it's a Euro game, but there's all these different paths you can do it, and all of them are fun, and all of them are real interesting. So that's what I love about it.
Right. Okay, what do you do with the dice when you draft them? Is it just drafting them and then they trigger something, or do you do something then after?
So you draft the dice and it moves you up these 2 tracks. One is a first player track and one is an engineering track.
So basically the dice are arrayed from like 1 to 6, but like let's say what the average dice are, what they call the median dice. Yeah. So like 6s are better than 1s, but if you draft the 6, it's going to penalize you. So you're going to have to move down on these tracks. Whereas if you pick below the average, it's going to move you up on the tracks.
Yeah. Okay.
And so there's a kind of like, okay, well, that 1 is not really good, but I'm going to be first player if I move up on that first player track. So maybe I take it, right?
And then you apply the dice to actions?
Yes.
Around the board?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. And the 6 dice do better actions, generally speaking.
It's just genius.
Nice.
Vladimir does that in a lot of his games. This cool little action selection that just sings. It's just great.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
I think it was in my top 50, Pulsar, for sure. Yeah.
Way to go. Yeah. Way to go. Proud of you.
Glad somebody is. It's the first time you've ever heard that on this channel.
Yeah. Number 9?
Number
9 is a game from 2011. Okay. It has a Board Game Geek rating of 199.
Ooh.
And I've played it 5 times. And this is a game that is near and dear to Father Greg, and that is Village.
Oh,
Village.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Village, whenever I play it, I feel like I'm in this cozy little medieval atmosphere. I can go to church, but the worker placement is brilliant, and this whole idea in Village in Village, you have these workers, and your workers have to die in the game. And you have to bury them. Sometimes you have to bury them out at sea if you're on the port, and then other times you can bury them at the graveyard. Some of them you don't even bury, or
well, the idea is to bury them in the Chronicle.
Yeah, that's right. That's
they're
right.
Placed into the history books.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just go into the unmarked graves.
Yeah.
And
so
But somebody's got to go there.
somebody's got to go there.
yeah, it's just this wonderful game. The worker placement is great. I would say the expansions really make this game better.
Okay.
The port and I think the pub, is it?
The inn, yeah.
The inn.
How do you feel about a monastery being represented by a big black bag?
Yeah, that's all right.
That matches your experience at the seminary, or what?
Pretty much.
You just randomly get picked out, and it's your time to get ordained.
Yeah. And everything just fits together so well in the game. All the various worker placement spots. It's there's some games where you say, and the expansions are great in this, but there's some games you say, that could be better, or that's not really good. In Village, I just think it all works well.
Yeah. Inca and Marcus pulling it out.
Yeah. Is this your number one?
Depending on the year,
Okay.
it's kind of.
No.
I think it was my number one actually this past year.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 8 is a 2008 game. 2018 game.
Oh,
by the way,
very
I have 4 games from 2018 in my top 10. That's a great year.
That's a great year.
You
Wow.
guys got to go back and look at 2018. Everyone, you love it.
Go on that BGG tab.
So this
Advanced
game,
Search 2018.
this game is rated. This is my highest in terms of board game geek ratings. This is the highest.
Oh.
It's rated number 42, and I've played it 9 times. It's number 8. You guessed it, Underwater Cities.
There you go.
I guess.
I don't think we guessed it.
Before Dune Imperium came along, before Lost Ruins of Arnak came along with this, you're playing a card and you're going to a worker placement spot.
Yes.
There was Underwater Cities. There might have been another game before that, of course, but in Underwater Cities, you're building an underwater city, and the main mechanism, which I love, is you're playing these cards, and then you have to match your worker placement action with the color.
Well,
So
you don't have to.
You don't have to, but ideally you want to.
Yes. Yeah.
And I love that.
Yes.
And if you have normally in the game it works that if the cards are better, the worker placement spot is weaker, and vice versa. What I also appreciate about this game is it fixes the problem I see in many of these card where you're getting all these cards like Terraforming Mars and Ark Nova, where you're drawing all these cards and none of them work for you because you need them in late game. Underwater Cities, it's a simple fix.
Yep.
You've got eras.
Yes.
You've got cards for era 1, cards for era 2, cards from era 3.
Yep.
Just beautiful. Like
Just stagger that deck, baby.
Just stagger it. Why don't you do that? Other games do that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful.
Right. Nice little simple solution.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I also love the theme in Underwater Cities too.
It's a nice theme.
Yeah. And a little bit of an engine builder,
Yep.
which I appreciate. A great game, a longer game.
And
But
making
but
routes down below.
There's a little bit of everything.
Your cities.
Card play, worker placement. You're making your own city. These routes. Yeah, just love it. Game end scoring. It has everything.
Has game end scoring.
Yeah.
It's got everything.
I meant to mean the objective cards
Right.
you can get in the game. Yeah,
I
it's
understand
just
what you
great.
mean.
It's number 8.
Awesome. You're already 3 for 3, man.
You just wait, man. It's gonna get better. Number 7 on my top 10 is also from 2018.
Okay.
It's rated 84 on Board Game Geek. I've played this game 19 times.
Whoa, so you like it.
So now we're stepping up into games you actually know something about here.
Unlike us, we played like our top 10s like 3 times.
That's right. Dan will have a game in his top 10 that he's played like once. I played this last Friday, but it's my number 1 game of all time.
Listen, it settles down eventually.
I thought I was bad with 4 plays. Gosh. But can I share with you my number 7?
Please do.
Number 7, I love the theme. Just draws me in. And that is Obsession. Number 7 at Obsession. And
Okay.
yeah, man, I love Downton Abbey, the show. I've watched.
Oh, you watched it?
Man, I hope you're not scandalized that a priest likes that show. But it's this whole idea you're building up this estate, and you're trying to woo the likes of these great houses to come into your state and raise their reputation. And just the theme on the cards that you draw and the characters is this one guy, is it Sir Alan Rungsby or something, but it states he's destined for the church, but until then he hunts. Yeah. I just love that, Yeah, it's a blend of unique mechanisms, right? You're trying to run these events, you've got card play, it's not worker placement, but you've got these servants that you need to run these events.
Yes.
And then you need to refresh them. They need rest. It's a lot of long-term planning too, and so it's a strategic game in that sense.
So the thing that blew my mind the first time I played this was there's no hand limit. You just have cards and cards. It's not like you're working from a deck and you draw a certain number of cards from your deck.
Yeah.
You're not deck building per se. You're kind of hand building, but it's all limited by the amount of servants and the types of servants that you have in order what you're actually able to pull off. So it's sort of deck building in a sense that you're kind of building your worker pool. But then you kind of got to get rid of those guys, and it's tricky.
It is tricky.
It's tricky.
It is. There's some tightness to the game, if you know what I mean. Like you're limited by what you can do.
But you feel like you can do anything.
Yes.
So it gives you this sense of do it all. And then it's like, it slaps you a little bit. Slaps you on the back of the hand. Like one of those
the lady maids.
Yeah.
The ladies' maids, yeah.
She's going to get you.
Yeah. But I love the events. There's some events like the smoking room, you go into the smoke, or you go play whist in the front parlor, or you're going to play bowling on the lawn, or you can go riding in the stables. And I think there's even a tile. It's a bonus tile. It says secret rendezvous, And that, in fact, lowers your reputation.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I like it because there's some morality in the game.
There you go.
It's a Euro game, but where storytelling kind of does play, I would say, a major role.
It just comes out.
In that, yes, it comes out. You do kind of want to tell a story about your family and about, here's this American heiress who showed up and she's got a lot of money, but nobody likes to be around her. And so, she's got a loud mouth and she gossips a lot and whatever. And so, you kind of do tell this kind of story that unfolds.
It's a gem. It really is.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's excellent.
Yeah. Moving on to my number 6. Number 6 was also a 2018 release. So I think that's number 3 now we're going at. And it's rated 82 on Board Game Geek.
Okay.
Wow.
I've played it 5 times.
Okay.
This is the second game on my list I do not own. Fr.Greg owns this game. And he introduced me to it. And that's Teotihuacan.
Oh
yeah, man! Oh man! I just get excited about this game just thinking of it.
It's getting in his bones.
No, it's what excites me about this game. Everything just ties together so well, and in this game you have the way the workers move around the board. You have about 6 or is it 6 worker placement spots or 8? I forget.
Yeah, 8. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 8. I think.
And then you're limited by how far you can move. That's one limitation. But then you're also limited by if there's another person at that spot, you have to pay a particular resource. And so you really want to go there, but gosh, I don't got the resource. I can't go there. You have more than one worker on this rondel where you're moving around the board to place your workers. And just every placement you go to is good. It's like you can do something there and you want to go there, and it's just Euro goodness. I mean, it's dry as all can be in terms of a theme. I mean, I hate to say it, what are you trying to please these false gods or something? And Teotihuacan, right? But man, it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you played this, Dan?
I have not played.
So it's a heavy. Yeah. It's not all that heavy.
Well, what do the pips on the dice represent? Is that how powerful that action is going to be for you?
Yes.
And then you continue to go in value until you reach a certain limit, and then you go down.
So basically you go around the board, and then every action that you do often ends up rotating your dice to a higher pip.
Okay.
And then, so for example, if you go to the wood spot and you have like a 5 dice, you might get 3 wood. But if you have like a 1 dice, you just get 1 wood or something. You don't get like a cocoa or nothing.
Yeah.
But once your dice get to 6, they die. But they also ascend.
Little do they know they'll go meet the one true God.
That's right. That's right.
But yes, once you get to level 6, your dice get like this bonus, but then they go back to being a level 1.
Yes.
So like sometimes you kind of you want to leave them at 5 for a little bit, to keep getting those nice juicy 5 bonus actions.
Take to walk on number, was that 5?
I think it was 5.
No, that was 6.
That was 6.
Pardon me.
Whew.
Number 5. I'm 50. Favorite
Are they getting better?
They're all good.
Are they getting
And
better?
this might come a little bit of a surprise to Father Greg here.
Okay.
But it's going to be a delightful surprise. This game comes from 2014. It's 81 on Board Game Geek.
Okay. I rate it.
Yeah. And I've played it 14 times.
Ooh.
Yeah, you probably don't know I've played it 14 times. But this is just the delightful game of Fields of Arle. By Uwe Rosenberg. And this game had maybe been in my top 30, my top 20 for a long time. I've had the board game for a long time. It's a great solo game, but not so long ago, Father Greg and we pulled it out, played a 2-player game, and I was just like, this is just a great game. It's a Euro game, worker placement, as you know, like a Rosenberg.
But that's all it is. It's 2-player, right?
Oh, you're right. That's right. Or a solo.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the expansion does 3-player, but you'd never want to play 3-player, probably. Right. But you're in Arles, which is Rosenberg's hometown. It's where he came from, and this game is a labor of love. There's this whole separate book on the history of Arles, and the people there, and the history of it there, and it just shines through. And you just feel cozy playing it, even though it's this Euro that has lots of decisions. It's quaint, and you just want to be in Arles. That's right. You know what I mean? You want to cut peat. You want to raise the sheep. You want to feed the cows. You want to travel down the road and sell your goods, and everyone's just doing their best, trying to make a living and looking out for each other. It's just, that's all, man. It's just, That's right. Oh, man.
You know what? Father Greg was really big on hating Uwe Rosenberg.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, Ryan Gallagher came along with, like, Hallertau.
Yeah.
And you came along with Fields of Arle.
Fields of Arle in particular. This did change my perspective on Uwe Rosenberg, for sure.
And at first, you get this big board, and it looks like there's like 30 worker placement spots, but only half are available to you each season. Right. You got a kind of a summer season and a winter season.
I was going to say, that helps so much.
Oh, yeah,
just exactly. In the fact of, like, you feel bombarded with options, but then when you're told, you can only select half of them, it's like, great. Right? It's like it's a relief that there's not 1,800 different things to choose. It's like, okay, I'm limited to these 6 spots and these 12 buildings and whatever.
And what I appreciate about Rosenberg is they're games you can explore. Like, there's all these different avenues, right? And
like every time you play, you can play a certain style.
You can try.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like number 5.
That's I can't believe it.
Isn't that high?
It is high.
Yeah,
but I can see it.
Okay, you can? Okay, great.
It fits with what you're giving us so far.
Does it?
This is a great list. People are going to love this list.
Thanks for that encouragement, Dan. Really appreciate that.
Really going to love it.
Thanks for building me up. Now we're moving on to number 4. This is my newest game on the list. The newest game released in 2020.
Okay.
And it is 142 on Board Game Geek rank. I've played it 7 times. Any guesses?
Is it Messina? 1645 or whatever?
Close.
Maybe Carnegie?
Close. A little further away, actually.
Yeah.
But it's Praga Kaput Regni.
Wow! Look at that!
Yeah, man, put it in. Wow, man, what a surprise. So, Praga, man. Yeah. Again, this is a game a Euro game where everything fits together just great. It's a game that Vladimir Suchi game, I always love his designs, but it's a game that pulls you in all these different directions, and you kind of want to do everything, but gosh, you can't. But you want to, because they're all great. You can build on the cathedral wall, you can build on the castle wall, you can move up the king's track, you can help build the bridge with eggs, which you actually did back in the day. You built the king's bridge with eggs. And yeah, it's true. It's true. It's just a game that you want to do everything, but you can't. And have you played this?
No, I haven't played this. I haven't played a lot.
So,
a lot of the games you love, Father Greg plays them with you, so I don't get to play them with him.
And I have to say, a 2-player game, you can knock this out in about an hour and 15 if you both know what you're doing.
Right. That's pretty good.
And it's relatively simple. You got that, it's an action wheel. It's much like, what's his other game that he put together, an action wheel? Oh, it's like Woodcraft a little bit. You pick an action from the action wheel, and it also has a bonus associated with it. And so that provides some thought. And
you also got these like resource wheels that I remember. Like,
yes, in your own resource wheels that you have yourself.
And they only go like so far. Like you kind of rotate this
so
wheel.
you have two main resources. That's
a bit like kind of like Glass Road.
Two main resources, I think it's brick and gold. Yet you can only ever hold 10 of each. Okay. So that limits you to what.
So now this is a bit of a spoiler question. Is this your highest Suchi?
You know what? I think it is.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, this is the best Suchi, I think.
Okay.
And Father Greg, you may agree with me. I'm not sure.
I might disagree with you. But,
okay.
But it is high up. It's definitely in the top 3 for sure.
So, and it's not as high.
His is Shipyard.
That's not true. I don't hate Shipyard.
Underwater Cities is the highest rated on Board Game Geek.
Yeah.
This one's rated at 142.
But that's still.
It's still
There's
high.
time. There's time for that to keep growing.
You're right. It's 2020 release.
Yeah.
Right.
My number 3 favorite game is from the year 2019. 2019. And this is the lowest rated on Board Game Geek at 696.
This is your kind of unpopular opinion then.
Yeah, and this game should be way higher.
Your top 10, the lowest rated is 696.
Yeah, your guys is the way
I'm
down.
sure I have some that are
like
10,000.
Yeah, not 10,000, but beyond 1,000.
For sure.
Royals is beyond 1,000.
Yeah, for sure.
Dogs of War is kind of in that 800
Okay.
range, and that's like my third or something.
Right, but this is your unpopular opinion. This is the one that everyone's going to give you grief for.
That's right. They're going to
this
say,
is
what?
This is the lowest
Well,
rated
this
game.
is just a fabulous game, and part of it is because of the publisher struggles with releasing these games.
Oh, I know
them,
what this is.
To get them over to North America.
Yes.
And it's happened recently with another of their games, which was Revive.
Yes.
It just takes a long time for them to get them to North
We're talking
America.
about you, Madigo.
Yes. And my number 3 favorite board game of all time is The Magnificent.
There you go.
I was expecting this to be higher, actually.
And it has been at my number 1 or number 2 before.
Okay.
And The Magnificent is one of, you're running this carnival and you're putting on these performances and you're building these tents. So the theme is unique. And the theme does come through in the game a little bit, even though it's a lot of it's a Euro game. And it's a simpler Euro game as things go as some of the other games on my list. It's simple. You basically have 3 actions, I believe. You can build your tent, you can perform, and you can gather gems. Am I missing one, Father Greg? I think that's it.
Yeah, it's probably fine.
Yeah. And you're drafting dice. But what I love most about the game is it's 3 or 4 rounds long, I believe 3. But at the end of each round, you have these cards in front of you that provide a little bit of a bonus to you, to your actions. But they also score at the end of a round. In each round, you can only score one of those cards, and you have to decide which one you're going to score, but then you lose that bonus action. Lots of games do this, right?
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And but then the beauty is you draft another of those cards the same round, and you're like, oh, that's really good too. So it's just goodness all the way around. And once again, all the actions fit together just great. It just sails. It's just fast. Fast game.
Yeah.
You can get this done in an hour, no problem, and yet you feel like you've done something. Yeah.
Feel like you've done something great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's kind of a little unknown. I mean, people have heard of it, but
Oh, yeah.
it's a little unknown. But man, they just take forever to bring the games over, and
Right.
I think it hurt the game a little bit because of that. Number 2, I think is going to surprise Father Greg a little bit.
Okay.
I bet it's Dune Imperium.
Number 2,
I'm gonna flip this table.
number 2 is also a board game released in 2018. Just a great year. I think the best. And I've played it 10 times. It is rated 380 on Board Game Geek. And this is Euro dryness at its best. Multiplayer solitaire, but I love it. And it's Newton.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Wow! I never saw that one coming.
get him! This is where you get him.
Because how I developed my top 10 list is, do I want to play these games right now? That's how,
Interesting.
like, that's, except for one game, but do I want to play these games right now? That's how I developed it.
Oh.
And when I think of Newton, like, I want to play that game. I want to play it.
Wow.
And so it's by the Italian designers, Simone Luciani, I think. Oh man, it's Euro dryness. I mean, you got these different tracks, these different maps. What I love about the game is the card play. You play cards to do your various actions. I think there's 3 or 4 different actions. But then at the end of the round, you got to tuck one of your cards underneath your player board. But then that gives a bonus to one of your actions later on in the game. So your travel becomes stronger, or your student action becomes stronger. But it's hard because, but then that's one less travel
card.
action
That's right.
card in your hand. So it's just like give and take. It's just, I mean, again, it pulls you in these different directions because you want to do a little bit of everything, but you can't. There's no interaction in the game, almost nothing. But I love it. I love. You just gotta love a dry Euro every now and then.
Your whole list was like,
It is. There's lots of different paths. You're trying to like manage a bookshelf. You kind of like go to universities.
Yeah, it's
You're
just-
trying to move up on, I don't know what track that is, but you're trying to move up on some crazy track.
That's a technology
the
track.
technology track. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's lots of things you could do. Yeah, you're right. It is a solid game.
So, and I was like, do I want to play this game right now? I was like, I want to play Newton. Yeah. Now, number 1, you got to know my number 1.
I'm trying to think.
I don't
now.
think he knows.
I was thinking of Magnificent. I was thinking,
So,
there's a few it could be, but then again, now that you said there's no nostalgia, I was going to say something like
So-
maybe Mage Knight or
so
something.
my number 1 game of all time breaks that criteria. Do I
Okay.
want to play this game right now? I have to be in the right space to play this game, but I need to have time to play this game. And when I do, I just love it.
okay, so I was wondering if it is what I think it is. I was wondering where it was because
Okay.
when I think about you and I think about the hobby, this is what I think about.
Well,
So we'll see.
okay, we'll see. It will become as no surprise to you when I tell you. So it's a 2011 release.
There you go.
It's ranked 128 on Board Game Geek.
Yeah.
Now, when I tell you how many times I've played it, you're going to know I've played it 128 times.
There you go.
And that is Lord of the Rings, the Living Card.
Yes. Yes.
And-
So the first time I went over to your house to play games, you brought me into a little side room that had a little desk.
Yeah, was it set up?
It was
on there?
all set up.
Yeah.
It was ready to go. And you were like, yeah, on Saturday mornings, I just come here.
That's right. If I've got time. I don't
Yeah.
got time to do that these days, right?
Yes, that's right.
But I have everything for this game. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm like on holidays and I don't go anywhere, I just love to immerse myself in the world of Middle Earth. And I'll even, and there's these various quests you go on in particular areas of Middle Earth. And I'll even break out my Middle Earth Atlas and, read about the history where I am in Middle Earth.
So
and,
good.
Oh man, and you lose yourself in the world, right? And then you construct these decks. You can construct like a dwarf deck, a hobbit deck, and you can play all of your favorite characters in Lord of the Rings. And you just lose yourself in the world. And I've played, I think, about 80% of it. So I got 20% left to go.
Okay. Are they still releasing content?
No, it's done now.
It's done.
So they're kind of repackaging some of the content now to make it a little more available. Why I don't feel like playing this game sometimes, it's not a perfect game. It's a little obtuse. Like, it's...
Well, I was going to say fiddly.
Fiddly, it's a little unnecessarily complicated. And that can happen with living card games, right? You get this huge card pool, and then you have all these exceptions to rules because of it. And it is showing its age. Like, Marvel Champions is the refined version of the system of Lord
it's
of the
pretty
Rings.
much the same system, I think.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. But for the amount of time I have played it, and when I think about, if I have time to play it, I just love it. It's got to be my number one. I mean,
there you
I
go.
played it 128 times.
That's true. I mean, that still surprises me, but it makes sense.
So, but if I make this list, maybe
But
2
you've
years
played this
down the year-
primarily solo.
Also, I think
I've never even played it with
we
you.
haven't. So I think I've played with my brother Dave once, but it's just solo. Yeah.
So because I was inspired by you, and I went out and got this.
Did you really?
And I tried to play it solo because I was like, Father Dan, he plays this solo. And I got beat up, I got ringed out, I got shoved hither to and yon, and I just gave up and I sold it.
Yeah.
Couldn't handle it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
This was great. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was
great. You guys were in fine fettle today. I just got to tell you that. just fine fettle.
We just need to keep this guy around there. This is good.
My self-esteem just rose up like
This guy struggles with looking at himself in the mirror, but when Father Dan's around, no problems whatsoever. Party people, there we have it. Those are Father Dan's top 10 board games of all time ever. This list is the GOAT. This is so good. So, party people, let us know what you thought of Father Dan's list. Again, recommendations that you think Father Dan would like. If he hasn't gotten around to some games, and based on his picks, recommend some games to him that you
Always
think he
open
would
to
love.
that, Dan.
Yeah, let him know. Okay, party people, if you like this video, please press the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, party people.
Have a great day.
Good enough!